Well, ladies and gentlemen, back by popular demand, just when you thought it was safe and just when you thought that we was out the door, oh, here we are again. It's almost kind of like the Pointer sister said. I changed the words up. We are family. I got my brothers and me.
Yes,
and
sir.
look who I got with me, the one and the only Cowboy Joe and B-Bird and myself. And together, we make up the Cowboys OG Podcast, in which, of course, it's a bunch of, a little more seasoned Cowboy fans as we come together.
Yes, sir.
And we live life. We seen all the championships. We know what an organizational championship team supposed to look like. And if we don't see it like this with our own team, we'll come out and tell you. And we'll tell you without no hesitation. And we don't care. No, we ain't working for nobody. We work for ourselves. This is our channel. We get to say what it is and call it like it is. And I got a feeling you're gonna hear some of this today in just a few minutes. And I'm really just gonna get out the way so I can just let the brothers unleash it, so we can come for what you guys come to hear. I hope you guys will hit that like button as you come in, whatever channel you're watching this on. I hope that you would share it as well. I hope that you guys will let everybody know that the OGs are in the building and we ain't here to play. And on that note, I ain't got nothing to say. Let's speak to everybody real quick, gentlemen, before we get crunk up. Cowboy Joe, say what's up to the people.
What's up to the people? Happy New Year. Good to see you guys.
Yes, sir. B-Bird in the building. What's up?
Hey, what's up, man? We back on a Friday night like we supposed to be already, man. We kind of had some things going on. Each one of us did, man. We tried to get some shows in, but Friday is kind of, our soft spot, man, our good landing spot, so we're here. Just want to give a shout out to my son. Yesterday, we did a show together for the first time, man. I'm really proud of that show. If y'all get a chance, go to B-Bird Cowboys and check us out. My son really had some good insight, especially from a young man that's 21 years old, man. So I'm so proud of that show. If y'all get a chance, man, hey, on the rewind, go back and check it out. But I'm glad to be with these two gentlemen today, man, so we can talk some Cowboys.
All right, and it's just showtime, man. We're going to kick it off. We're going to pass this thing around like the Harlem Globetrotters and just go around with it. So, of course, at the top, our good leadoff guys always been Cowboy Joe, who always start shooting bullets in the air. and I ain't no telling what he finna come out with. So let's talk about it, Joe. The floor is yours, bro.
So we talked a little bit backstage about the press conference. So the first question off the top is, why did they do one? So we kind of hearing they did it by popular demand, but it was interesting to say the least. Some of the things that were said, a lot of stuff to kind of talk about, and I'm gonna say this about the media. It's still kind of tough for the guys that cover the team, and I don't think Jerry's gonna suspend their press passes and all of that, but some of the questions they need to just kind of relook at what they're doing there. I think there's a way you can ask questions, guys, and get some answers without getting your media pass cut off. But yeah, it was some of the questions that Jerry was, for the most part, I think he was just filibustering. He didn't really know what to say. He kind of lost us for a minute there, but yeah, it was interesting to say the least.
Yeah, I guess on the press conference, man, we were talking about backstage, but I was just thinking, when you've been around the sport and as powerful as Jerry is, that's what happens, right? You people know he's going to be here, and he's a GM, and guys, a little bit hesitant of really pressing him. I just think if he was in New York or Philadelphia, man, they would have pressed him a long time ago. And I think what Jerry's done, he's conditioned the media around here and conditioned some of our fans to be real gentle with him, or he's set them up into an environment that that's really comfortable for him, instead of one that another GM wouldn't be comfortable in. But anyway, so going beyond that, I think out of the press conference, one of the things that kind of made me shake my head was, and I'll ask you guys this question, his comment on the Pickens negotiation or contract, or how it's going to go. I kind of saw that somebody asked him, would he negotiate with Pickens in person, or will he talk to his agent? And I wasn't really too happy with the answer. I was going to see what you guys thought about that question.
To answer your question, I think it's just the setup for the drama of the offseason, of whether they're going to, they'll present the picture of like they're going to sign them long term, but when it's all said and done, they're going to put that tag on them and say, hey, we're going to try to get the deal done and all that type of stuff. And I got a feeling he's going to end up playing on the franchise tag like a lot of us thought in the first place. The reason why I say it's different, you got to watch Jerry and Steven in press conference, for instance. When they talked about Javonte Williams, they were decisive. They were quick. We want to resign him. We're going to resign him. We've already started talking to the agent. And even Steven said, even brought up the word multi-year deal. So they've already shown their hand. They think it's a must or whatever. But when they talked about Pickens, it was not as divisive. You know, he started talking about, at the end, Jerry had said, I can do this nice, or I can do this the other way around. So the way that you are, and then keep in mind, as Cowboy Joe have said, since before we even started doing the OG podcast, I think Cowboy Joe and his son brought out Dave Mulligetta, who's the agent for Pickens, but he's also the same agent for Parsons. And that little dynamic was not good, obviously, for Parsons in the Parsons deal. And I don't think that he's too fond of Dave Mulligetta at all. Steven says we're already talking to Adam. That's whoever Adam is. That's Javonte Williams' agent. We're already talking to Adam. You can tell that it's smooth there, but they don't even call Mulligetta's name. They just call the agent. And so when you start talking about that, and George Pickens, of course, have already kind of said, it's in the agent hand. I'm not doing all this. So I think they don't want to deal with him at all, and I think it's setting up for high drama in Dallas, which of course is what Jerry loves. I believe they already kind of know what they're gonna do because they know the money, especially if Pickens makes all pro. So he already is a Pro Bowler, but if he becomes an all pro this year, that's more leverage for him at the negotiating table. So they already know this dude gonna command $33, $34 million a year. And that just may not be what they want to do when they got on the opposite side. They have the franchise tag right there, which is, cheaper. I think that's what they're gonna do. And to answer your question, I think it's setting up for a little drama, down the road. Unnecessary drama, but that's the Jerry Jones way. Correct. What you think about that, Joe?
Yeah, so I think the Pickens negotiation is going to kind of, set the tone for the entire offseason. If they smart, so one of my son's friends told him during the summer, if you had put Jerry in the basement and just locked him in the basement, you're probably in the playoffs. And so I think the same thing is going to happen this offseason. If he gets involved in this thing like he was last summer, it's not going to go well. He actually, it's so frustrating just to listen to him. But like I tell my son all the time, for the most part, I pretty much ignore everything he's saying. So, yeah, they got to be much smarter than they were the last time. And he should not be talking to Pickens. And by the way, I don't think Pickens is going to talk to him. He's not.
He shouldn't.
So, yeah, it's not going to happen. So, I think,
especially after Joe, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Especially after he was in the building and saw step by step the Michael Parsons thing, and this is the same agent. So this is not a hard situation at all. He should know. With Jerry, Jerry gonna talk to him regardless, but it's up to Pickens to say, hey, I don't handle that. You need to talk to the agent.
And I think that. Going forward, I just think players are not going to talk to him. And we found out after the fact that Trayvon Diggs didn't have an agent, which was kind of weird. So a lot of what happened with Trey probably would have been handled differently if he had an agent. But yeah, it's going to set the tone for the offseason, what they do with this Pickens contract. You saw Tyler Smith. Yeah. He kind of saw how this thing was going, moving him to tackle. And he pretty much ended it, him and his agent. So that's probably what's going to happen going forward with him dealing with players. I don't think it's going to happen again.
Yeah, I definitely think that you're right. I think a lot of people have learned their lesson. The thing is that I said on Twitter a few times, I don't know if y'all even saw this. After the New York Giants game, immediately Pickett should not have another word said to Jerry Jones. Only other thing he should be listening for is his agent to call him and say the deal is done. He should not talk to Jerry Jones at all. And in retrospect, man, if I was to give Parsons any advice in retrospect, I would tell him follow the same plan that CD did. Just hold out of camp. You're worried about the $50,000 or whatever they're going to find you, but that's small money versus the big money that you were going to get. Because once you out of camp, now you ain't got all these things, all these microphones in your face. Now you're not saying anything. Now you're not getting frustrated. You're letting the process happen. Let the agent do the work, and then whenever the deal's done, then you come in. And that's the same path that Pickens should actually take. Stay out of camp. Stay away from Jerry until your deal's done.
And I want to kind of tie that. Everything y'all saying is right, but I want to tie that back into Joe's original question, or talking about the media, or what we were kind of talking about backstage. A lot of the guys, man, kind of have a secondary job. A lot of them may work for y'all live in Texas, so y'all know the Dallas Morning News, that type of thing. That's one employment. But then they also get another check from DallasCowboys.com. That check is signed by Jerry. And so if you're working there, if you're doing the podcast shows, if you're doing the reporting, and you one of the ones that are in that building when these type of press conferences happen, Jerry uses that thing to control the narrative.
Absolutely.
And they know that you can't cross the line. But here's the funny part, though. We found this out through Boss Cowboy, and it is legitimate. And we definitely found out a little bit later through Voch. We really found out through Voch, and Boss kind of reported that Jerry Jones every week gets a social media report on his desk. In other words, he knows what streets are saying. Now, I don't know, you don't know who he watching, but he watching somebody. And so and I believe Voch obviously was one of those guys, which is the reason why he's in there. And Voch has not changed, but he's limited on what he really can say, because he is now getting a check from that signed by Jerry Jones.
Correct.
That's there. But however, his base, of course, is his YouTube channel, which is over 100,000 people or whatever. So he's cool on that. But you are limited in what you can say. Now, Voch ain't the only one that he's watching. He very well could be watching the Cowboy OG podcast. Yeah. See what we're saying. But there's a report that goes on there every time. So what he's not getting in the press conference, he's getting in the social media report. And that's why you got people like Cowboy Joe and his son and B-Bird, and you got me and so many others who do not mind calling like it is, because somebody got to tell Jerry Jones the truth, or at least put him in the fish grease and see if he gonna boil a little bit. Because if we're going, Joe said it perfectly. Well, he didn't say it like this, but this is the idea. If we're gonna do the same thing over again, then I can already tell you right now we're gonna be in the same spot next year.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't even have to see it. I done seen enough seasons. I done seen Jerry get in the way, all that type of stuff. And let me transition to that real quick. So we started talking about the defensive coordinator. I will tip my hat to Jerry for this. He finally admitted that he's wrong. In essence, he said that when it comes to selecting, or the criteria for getting a defensive coordinator, he likes a guy that's been knocked down and trying to come back up, got a chip on his shoulder, and want to move forward that way, a guy that you can fight and scratch and claw with. And he said that, maybe that's the wrong criteria. And I said, well, there is a God. Because that's not the criteria.
Yeah.
First of all, you hired flukes. Hey, they tried to pass it. I don't know if you guys saw it. Talking about Brian was involved in it. No, after you hired Schottenheimer, 2 days later you had flukes. I mean, come on now. You just Schottenheimer ain't called flukes out. You already had it in the building, so everybody knows that he lied about that. Now you want to talk about, well, we're gonna do this. Let Brian Schottenheimer tell you what the criteria is. How about that? We tried it your way. You gave us flus. 32nd in the league, last in the league, 511 points. Your way don't work. Get out of the way for once. Let Schottenheimer figure it out. Let him get the guy who fits or complements him and his offense. Yeah. Let him do that, and then I'll take my chances. So I'll give Jerry a little credit for that. But if you don't mind, gentlemen, what are y'all thinking? Because by now, and hello to everybody in the chat. Jay Bryan, Chris, I see you, man. Acuna, appreciate you. What are y'all thinking? I don't know which way y'all want to take this, but what y'all thinking about the defensive coordinator? Well, I guess I say what would you like, or what are you thinking they're gonna do?
Well, let me say this. I want to. You remember the story that Jerry told when McCarthy got hired? How, he brought him in and he ended up spending the night over at Jerry's house or whatever, and they ended up making a deal, right? That's kind of sappy and kind of emotional, right? Like, so it's like he went off a gut feeling. Then with Shotty, he was talking about the deference and Shotty's dad and all that kind of stuff. That's also that has nothing to do with analytical football. It has nothing to do with anything. That goes with I got a gut feeling. And then the guys that have been knocked down, that's still a gut feeling. So Jerry is operating off his gut. He's operating like I just got a feeling for this guy. It's almost like when you're digging a well, digging for oil. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like wildcat. I know the next one gonna be it. And that's just not how the things work, man. Things got to be, you got to go look at statistics. You got to go look at schemes. You got to look at what this guy's done before. What can he bring what can he bring over that's transferable over to what you got? How can he take the guys that you got so you don't have to have so much turnover to make his defense work? It's a whole bunch of other factors that go in. And what you do is, say you put this thing in Shotty's hand. Then you put it in the hand of somebody that can get fired. That's all I ever want. I want decisions to be made by people that can get fired because they have an urgency to win. Jerry, when he make decisions, he make them without an urgency to win. He just, want to feel good about it and play with it. I need Shotty to do that. Shotty's done a really good job of putting together an offensive staff. I got confidence he could put together a good defensive staff if you allow him to be part of the process. And Jerry lied again at the press conference saying about the defense coordinator when he brought in. That was all Jerry. That was flat out all Jerry. It is already known that he was brought in, and the news was broke by Cowboy Joe that he was brought in before the head coach Shotty was brought in. So you can't say that it was a decision. But so I just think, man, with this decision, man, if we just have the football people look at the football aspect of the decision, we're gonna come out on the right side of it.
What you think about it, Joe? The defensive coordinator spot.
So let's give Clarence Hill credit. He did two things this week. He confirmed two things that I always thought. So one, he did confirm that the Bears were paying Eberflus. The other thing that he said, which was kind of, I haven't heard a media person say this before. He actually paid Jason Garrett more than he played Wade Phillips, and Wade Phillips was the head coach. We always thought that, but Clarence Hill confirmed it. So to go back to your question, so I said on your show before and on our show, I was in the HR business for over 25 years. So it's a science to doing this. And what's happened the last 30 years, he hasn't used the science. That's what happened when he hired McCarthy. He did the same thing basically when he hired Jason Garrett. So they just need to interview 8 to 10 guys, and then you just hire the guy that gives the best interview. So you use that process right there. That's exactly how the Steelers got Mike Tomlin. The Steelers, they had a guy that was a front runner that they really pretty much thought was gonna get the job, but they did all these interviews and they found a guy that just blew their socks off, and it was Mike Tomlin. So if you're looking at what Seattle just did this year, they did the exact same thing. They interviewed several candidates and they hired Mike McDonald. And then to take you guys back in the day, when the Cowboys hired Norv Turner, that's what happened. Norv Turner was the 5th guy on their list. And so they just interviewed several guys and he gave the best presentation. So I think they kind of on the right track. We're hearing they're bringing in a lot of different guys, but if Shadi is in charge of this and he does what he did last year, I think that's what he's going to do, and just interview the guys and hire the best guys.
Yeah. Let's just be honest, y'all. I mean, those in the chat, you know anything about football. We don't have to have a Bill Belichick type dude with this offense, man. I mean, come on now. They averaged 29.1 points a game. The problem, obviously, this year was that the defense averaged was 30.1. Mm-hmm. You don't have to have the 85 Bears, okay? You don't have to have the 85 Bears. If the Cowboys would have ranked 20th in the league in defense this year, we'll be playing tomorrow. Mm-hmm. It ain't no question. We would have won 11, 12 games. No question in my mind if we would have had it. Now, I'm not saying that we just supposed to go get anybody, but what I am saying is this, and I'm talking about kind of like in the future for maybe about the next 4 to 5 years, we better get it right. We don't have time for a year rental of another defensive coordinator. We need to get it right. And of course, if the dude does well, I mean, he's going to get hired somewhere else anyway. We already know this, but at least have the intentions on trying to get this thing right, far beyond just a 1-year dude. And that's going to kind of help you out as far as maybe some of the selections go. There's one that everybody's talking about, Jim Leonard, and I'm going to have to shoot y'all what I just saw today. I'm going to shoot y'all, put it into our text message thing. And it is eerie to how similar Leonard and Coach Schottenheimer talk. And I wish I could bring it up here so y'all can see it on this, but I wasn't thinking about that at the time.
Yeah, I've seen it.
You saw it when you kind of know. If you had to do an early favorite, I don't think it would be in the question. I think everybody would kind of say Leonard. But there are other people, qualified guys, who they already kind of have headed toward. They had 3 names that come out. Leonard was one of them, but there's still a couple more. A lot of people still talk about Flores, and I saw Matthew put out Matt Patricia. I saw that these are real good coaches. But I got a feeling Schottenheimer already kind of knows. He ain't gonna say it, but I got a feeling he kind of already knows what he wants to do, and I think that's the way that it's going. I pass it back to you, Joe.
So I think what we got to factor in too, we always got to factor in Jerry. So at some point, if the money gets involved, so one of the things I've been thinking about the last few days, I wonder if some of these coaches or the coaches' agents, they're going to just tell Jerry up front, here is our minimum. This is what we're going to take. If you think you're going to hire us and we're going to be the lowest paid defensive coordinator in the league, then we know we're not interested. So I'm wondering if some of that is happening behind the scenes. But yeah, I've seen all of the videos on Leonard, and but again, I want to just interview everybody. And then if he ends up being the best guy, he's the best guy. But he could end up being the 4th guy. But we got to talk about the price tag. And one thing I've been thinking about is we still don't know what Brian Schottenheimer is making. So, I wonder is he going to be in a situation where he has to come back to Shotty and change his pay just to get the other guy in? I don't know what y'all thought about that.
I can answer that very quickly. I think that he's the lowest paid head coach in the league. That's number one. So whatever that is, I think he's right at $4 to $5 million or something like that. Forgive me for not being 100% accurate on.
Well, they hadn't put it out, so it's not on you. They had not put that out. Yeah.
Okay.
People speculate.
So you got to use your common sense. If you're going to get a Brian Flores is getting paid $3 million a year as defensive coordinator. You got to give him a raise just to leave.
Yeah.
And then he's going to be negotiating, because I'm quite sure he's going to be saying, well, I got an offer here and I got an offer here and all that type of stuff. And before you know it, you might end up be paying a defensive coordinator right at $5 million a year. So to answer your question, Joe, whatever Shotty is getting paid, he may need a raise because it's going to look mighty raggedy if your defensive coordinator is getting paid more than your head coach. But this is Jerry, like you just said, like Jerry, he's cheap even in head coaching ways as far as salary goes. He gets the guys like B. Bird just said with McCarthy. Well, McCarthy was kind of like, please, I'd take the job. He's spending the night at Jerry's house. Come on now. You know, you making it too obvious you want the job. So it's almost like a little desperation.
Correct.
So you know it's like that. Schottenheimer, as much as everybody likes him, everybody knows he wanted a job. He never had a head coaching job. 20 plus years.
Had no other offers either.
Had no other offers. Nobody even thought about him. So of course he gonna take whatever. Take the money, take whoever you want to have on the staff. Fine, just give me the job. Like that. But in this case, again, that should not be a criteria. At this point, since you got a window with this offense or whatever, you had better get the right dude to lead the defense, because you had all the talent, but you had the wrong person on defense, and you see where that got you. So now you better get, since you got the talent, that's going to probably be a little bit better than what they were this year, and now you need to get the right guys. It's really simple. So I'm with Joe. I applaud. If they're going to interview everybody, that's fine. I don't have no problem with it. Just get us the right guy. That's what we need.
So I'll make this statement. There's nowhere in the world where the most valuable franchise in the world where it should be a barrier or a deal breaker with a salary. Salary should never be a deal breaker on a coach. And one of the things that you said, if you do get Flores in, the structure wouldn't be right if your coordinator made more than your head coach. That's just crazy, because he's going to actually think he has more clout than you do, and he may actually have that. But the Cowboys love desperate coaches. Think back to this. McCarthy, he was desperate. Shotty, he was desperate. Garrett was desperate. Bill Parcells wasn't. Everybody before Bill Parcells was desperate. When you're desperate, you're gonna accept anything, right? But they love their coaches desperate, because now they can bargain with them. That's why theoretically, when Shotty got a job, why you didn't go to Ben Johnson? Well, Ben Johnson had options, and you didn't want to be dealing with those options and negotiations and things like that, because you don't want to pay him. I'll tell you this: if y'all really think about this, I think Jerry looks at head coaches as coordinators. You really look at the way they pay him and the way he treats them, they're coordinators, man. And so McCarthy was a coordinator. Shotty's an offensive coordinator right now. Wade Phillips was the defensive coordinator. And then you have an offensive coordinator. And then, so in sense, Jerry don't really have a head coach. He got a guy that's down there in the head coach position. But so then somebody will say, well, B. Bird, that's crazy. Look at how he pays them. The head coach get coordinators pay. He never gets head coach pay. So, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of how he like him. He like him desperate. And it's just crazy to me that we don't push back enough as far as the Cowboy community and say, no, dude, go get the best guy for the job. You are the most valuable franchise in the world, and your coaches have been the 32nd and 31st highest paid coach in the league. That makes no sense. You're not even trying to get the best. It's like a F1 driver or a NASCAR driver. They got a nice car that go 250 miles an hour. They're gonna get me to drive it. It makes no sense. Why would you go get me? Go get the best to drive the best. And that's where we should be at, man. That's what I got to say about that part.
Wow. You get it, Joe?
So one of the things that was disappointing about the press conference, as usual, so for the most part, what you just said, B-Bird, that should have been one of the questions in the press conference. They should have already asked him about this. Just ask him, explain your philosophy in not paying a coach when you have the most money as far as the franchise in the world. And you can ask that question in such a way that you won't lose your media pass. And basically what's going to happen is he's going to do one or two things. He's going to even answer the question or he's going to filibuster. It's one or the other. And so one of the questions that he said, he may have said this either after the press conference or during, I can't remember. He said that his goal is to catch Bob Kraft with Super Bowls. He wants to win 3. And so if you got any kind of journalism, behind your name, you could basically come back and just tell him, Jerry, how you gonna win 3 and you haven't got to an NFC Championship game yet? So, but you just ask it in a nicer way with with whatever you want to do there. But yeah, it's somebody needs to make sure he understands that he's done the same thing for 30 years. And one of the things is he doesn't want to pay a coach. So it hasn't worked. And so results matter. And so, his business, it's just like it's no accountability. You can just do whatever you want to do or say whatever you want to say. In his case, some of the things he said during the press conference were like, you would just look at him and just say, man, it's like you either got, maybe it's something going on with your brain cells, or you're just at the point where you don't care. And I asked you this, guys, on a couple of shows ago. Is he at the point where he really is not trying to win one? Because when you look at what he does, I just don't think it adds up. So, where are we with him? Is he really trying to win a Super Bowl? Because it just doesn't look like he really cares anymore.
I answer that. I think he does, without a doubt. But the problem is he wants to do it his way. And that way is not, it's behind. You're in an old time way. For instance, the draft and developmental plan, and let's go get bottom feeder free agents. That's not the way that the league running right now.
No,
but that's their way, and that's their way because they've been doing it for so long. So whenever we get somebody like a Pickens or we get somebody like a Quentin Williams, we like, oh wow, It's like because we're not used to doing that.
Yeah.
We
get them all the time.
Yeah, we get people for depth, not impact. Mm-hmm. I say that all the time. We get people for depth. But let me say this. If you want to know if we're going to do things differently, it's in the details, y'all. Like, for instance, I don't know if y'all know it in the chat, but the Senior Bowl is at the end of this month. The East-West Shrine game, the college all-star games, where the staffs go down and evaluate things. That's coming up in a matter of about 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. All right. Here's the step. You want to know if we're going to do things different? We'll get to the money part later. We'll get to the money. I ain't talking about the coaches. I'm talking about the players and all that type of stuff. That's all down the line. The restructuring of DAC and CD, all that's down the line. Let's start with this first detail. If the Cowboys go to the Senior Bowl or the East-West Shrine game without a defensive coordinator in place, then you're telling me that who's doing the evaluation? Will, Jerry, Steven, Schottenheimer? Where's the defensive coordinator? I know what Will might like. I know what Will might like. I know what Jerry might like. But Jerry and Steven, what they like may be totally different from what the incoming coordinator may like. See what I'm saying? So if you're scouting somebody, you don't even know what the defensive coordinator may want. So again, see that we if you want to know what's going to be different, A defense coordinator finna get hired, or should be getting hired within this next week or two. I mean, week and a half, to be honest with you. So pay attention to that, chat. Pay attention to that. If a defensive coordinator, I know they're interviewing, that's fine. They need to have a defensive coordinator in place before they get on the airplane and go to the East-West Shrine game. Now, I just want to throw that out there real quick.
So I wanted to just go back to something you said earlier. Jerry said in the press conference about the Pickens negotiation, he said, I can do this nice or I can do this the other way. Y'all remember him saying that? Yeah. There's not a GM in professional sports would ever make that comment. That's a threat. And so I try to tell people all the time, I wish people would get this. A GM cannot operate the way Jerry does and keep his job. And I'm not talking about even the success or failures. I'm just talking about the process in which he works. Like you cannot go at Michael Parsons like you did and then lose him and trade him to another team and keep your job. You not a franchise type, a once in every decade type pass rusher. You can't do that. And so Jerry just does some things, man. I just shake my head and it just goes over people's head. They're like, oh, he said that, and we just kind of heard it and kept on going. Nah, man, that's big there when somebody says something like that. But I want to say one thing that I think that may happen for us. Jerry right now is hell bent on this Michael Parsons trade working. So one thing that may give him some urgency to do some things, because let me tell you something right now. If it wasn't for Michael Parsons getting player of the month and our Cowboys averaging almost 40 points on defense on the other end of the spectrum, he would have made the Quentin Williams move. And what I'm saying is he was motivated because it was embarrassing. And he knows that part of his legacy is on this Michael Parsons trade, man. If Michael Parsons goes on to have a great and we keep going down, especially on our defense, it's going to make him look terrible because that's a move that no other GM would have made. So one thing that his ego may work in our favor for us, his pride may work his narcissism may work in the favor for us, man, because he really wants to prove that he made the right move with this Michael Parsons trade. And you can hear parts of that in the press conference. I don't know if y'all got that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
So he keeps bringing Micah up, which is interesting in itself. So I'm going to say this right here. So Dak, I'm just going to say he has two more years. I'm not even sure he'll get a third year. So one of the pushbacks I would have had in the press conference, I would have asked him this. And I think we're going to see it. If they don't make it to a Super Bowl in the next 2 seasons, either get there or win one, this trade was a failure. Then if you want to say, well, in 3 years, so let's give them 3 years. So 3 more Dak seasons. If they don't make it to a Super Bowl during that time, this trade was a failure. So we Cowboy fans, so we going on 30 years. So if you're telling me it's going to be, so this is 2026. If this is going to be 2030, 2031 before we know if this trade worked, the answer is it's a failure. So me, myself, I'm putting him on a 2 or 3 year window because I figure that's what Dak has. So they got to make it to a Super Bowl, either make it to one and win it. And so, no, he doesn't. It's not going to be something that he's just going to be able to float by. But that's one of the pushback the media should have. When he brings up Micah, every time he brings Micah up, they should ask him, how long do you think it's going to be before you can win the Super Bowl with this trade? And just see what his answer is. In my view, he's got to win one in the next 3 years. That's where I feel on it.
You just opened up a can of worms to me because my pushback to what you just said is, and I guess it's just a matter of preference. And I guess it's also a matter of the way you build your team. My pushback, Joe, or my question, it really ain't pushback. The question to you is, usually, with the exception of maybe a kicker, usually every other position, in the exception of maybe a quarterback, because quarterback got to come in balling out, especially if he get the keys to the franchise. it usually take 3 years for you to really find out where they are. You have some exceptions like Michael Parsons, maybe, who came in, the man. Everybody else kind of have to develop. Tyler Smith is another one who came in, knocking heads off. But everybody not like that. So my question to you is, so since you know that, so are you kind of leaning toward more free agency now rather than the draft and developmental plan? I mean, every team draft, and we know that, but are you leaning toward getting some real help, immediate impact guys, and mix in the draft guys rather than the way that the Cowboys been doing it, pretty much?
So my answer to that is, if you're a Cowboy fan, let me say it this way. So you said normally. So the Cowboys are not in a normal situation. So you've got 30 years where you haven't made it to one. So my answer to that would be, if you're the 49ers, the Chiefs, if you're the Broncos, if you're the Ravens, you can wait for your players to develop, but that's not the situation you're in. You're Dallas. Okay. You haven't done anything in 30 years. So I don't think you have 3 or 4 years to do this. And that's what needs to be, he needs to respond to that. And he needs to just say on record, just what you just said, big time. He needs to just say to Cowboy fans, we're going to do our draft and develop. And they sort of hinted around a couple of days this week that they may not even do anything different in free agency. I heard that.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're drafting and developing, then you're not going to get it done in 2 or 3 years. So again, I don't think Cowboy fans, if you're a 49er fan, just name all of these franchises that have had some success the last 5, 10 years, even 15 years. You can do that. We see Seattle doing it now, but Seattle, if you remember, they've been to a couple of Super Bowls. So their fans are going to be more patient. And Dallas, if he thinks he's got 3 years to do this, he in for a rude awakening.
Yeah, I agree. So what you got, B-Bird?
Yeah, man, I tell you, you're absolutely right about the draft picks, right? So I don't expect maximum production out of a draft pick, a normal draft pick, until about 3 years, man. Second year, 3 years. The issue I have with that is that you got a 3-year window with that, right? So those things don't add up, right? They don't line up.
Exactly.
So my thought process is, and I will tell y'all this too. One little thing, and I've been telling people this for about 2 years now. Watch the Cowboys. They don't necessarily get great players out of free agency. They get them out of trades. Yeah. The reason why they get them out of trades is because the contract is already set. They're trading for the contract and the player, and they don't have to negotiate the contract. They don't want to get in bidding wars. That's why they stay out of free agency. And so I think go on.
Excellent point.
And so what I think they need to do is, that's why, man, really, these draft picks that people want to hold on to, I'm not really necessarily want to hold on to them. If I get a Max Crosby for a first round draft pick, give me Max Crosby, because we're gonna, no matter who we draft, say we draft Bain out of Miami, Florida, as a defensive end. I mean, he had trouble getting to the quarterback last night. And so and that's the part I saw. I didn't see the whole game, so you may have came on at the end.
I agree.
But I'm saying this though, like, it takes a pass rusher. I was telling somebody yesterday, I say a pass rusher wins off athletic ability in college, but then he has to learn moves when he gets to pros, because left tackles and the right tackles are athletic also. And so unless you're Michael Parsons, right, run a 4.3, but nobody's like that. And so you need somebody that game one next year has a reputation and has the ability to get to the quarterback quickly. And that's Hendrickson and Crosby to me. And so either that path, and Hendrickson sounds better in a sense because you had to give a draft pick for him. You just have to sign him. But again, they don't necessarily like getting into a bidding war for players. But I think you trade them draft picks, man, to try to get impact players, because you got the franchise quarterback here now, and they've been lucky and blessed to get Tony Romo and Dak Prescott back to back, man. And the only thing they gave up to get them was a 4th round draft pick combined. And so, but you got this guy in place right now. You got a Super Bowl winning quarterback playing at a Super Bowl level. He's at that point to where his physical abilities plus his mind is at the apex. Early on you have the physical ability, you don't have the mind. Later on you have the mind, but you don't have the physical abilities. But right now, I think he has both of them, and it's a good balance of both of them. You got to get a defense on the field, and it needs to be just add water and they go, man. You don't have time for developing players at this point in time.
I like the way this is going. Chat, I need y'all involved in this because there's no right or wrong answer to what I'm getting ready to ask. And Joe and B-Bird already kind of answered it, but I this is just me now. Y'all might believe it different. I'm in total agreement with B-Bird. We both saying the same thing, that it takes 3 years at least for a draft pick to say, okay, this is who he is. And you don't have that time. The reason why we're saying that is because primarily this is what the Cowboys have done. They lean heavily on getting younger and drafting and hoping that at the end of the 3 years, these guys turn into Pro Bowl players, which a lot of them have, in fairness to them. But what did it really get you? It just got you a bunch of Pro Bowlers who get knocked out in the first round of the playoffs, and that's if we make the playoffs. So that don't work. You got to change something up. If you're talking about winning the World's Championship, you got to do something totally different. So based off that, let me ask y'all this. Chat, I'm really asking y'all. Everybody knows we got 2 first-round picks in the upcoming draft, 12 and 20. I'll answer it this. Which combination would you want to do? And so everybody's answer may be different. I'm interested in seeing that. Let me start it off this way. I don't see them giving up as much as Jerry talking about these picks. I don't see him trading it at all. I don't. Could he? Yes. Should he? That just depends on your preference. Do you want to go get like B-Bird said, do you want to get young and go get a Bain and maybe even sign a Hendrickson? That's 2. You ain't got to buy. I ain't saying we go get 5 or 6 free agents. You're not going to do that.
No.
I'm saying, but you can go get one that's incredibly impactful. That's a difference maker. You go get a Hendrickson, I don't care how old he is. The man got 19 sacks. Stop it. I'll take it. He become instantly your best pass rusher. I'll take it. You go get a guy in the draft that depend on, if you get a Hendrickson, you can draft the best person. But let me say what I was doing. I'm drafting at 12 because we're going to have a great player to pick from. I'm drafting at 12, whoever that is. But that 20, everybody got to remember, we don't have a second and third round pick.
Yeah.
We don't have a second and third round pick. So if you just go straight by the book, you're drafting in the first round, you're missing the second and third round, you drafted in the fourth. You know how many players you going to miss out on? So the way that I look at it is, we need to trade that 20th pick and get back into either the second or third round. And guys, I'm gonna send y'all a chart so y'all can see the chart. When I say the chart, our second pick in the first round at 20 is worth 850 points. If you were to trade out with another team, a lot of teams' second round pick is only worth 350 points. To get the maximum value of the draft or of the trade, you would have to trade something else just to match up so it can equal out to 850 points. So what I'm saying is, let's just throw a team out. San Francisco. Let's say San Francisco got a second round pick. Their second round pick is worth 350 points. If you want to move up to our first round pick at number 20, you're gonna have to give me more than talking about I'm just offering you a second. You're going to offer me a fourth round so it can equal up to 850. What I'm saying is we can get back into the second and third round. maybe. Or we could grab an additional 4th. Or we already got 3 picks in the 5th. Whatever. I'm saying you're gonna have to give that up, and teams will give up the world to jump back to get to number 20, and they're gonna give us way more. We might even get a player out of it. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we need to trade the 20th pick, draft at 12. You'll be able to get back into possibly the 2nd or 3rd round, or gain additional pick. You might get a player to even out the draft. And I think that's what I don't think we need to pick twice in the 1st round. I think we got to get back into the 2nd or 3rd round. One of them. There's just too much of a gap going from the 1st to the 4th round. We done missed out on players.
Let me ask you a question. So you're sitting here in your 4th year, you're a GM, right? Say you're the GM of the I don't want to say Jacksonville, they're doing well this year. Arizona Cardinals. Say you GM of Arizona Cardinals, and you've had the years that Arizona's had. And so now the heat's on you. So would you draft the 2 first rounders, or would you trade that for an impact player?
You can do that. I'm just saying what I would do.
And I'm saying that the Cowboys don't think like regular teams because they have the luxury of not having to. And so they have no fire under them to make moves to make this team drastically better fast. And so I think that's what we're kind of working against. And I think I was listening to the press conference the other day. One of the things that I found, and Jerry was saying, hey, the Michael Parsons trade, we won't know because we got future things coming from the Michael Parsons trade, right? And so I didn't like that because Jerry always sell the future because the future is always bright in his mind. What do you think, Joe?
He's always trying to sell something. Is he a great salesman, or is he a snake or a salesman? So
love it.
I think we're all on the same page, but here is my concern overall. You talked about the Arizona Cardinals. What we got to ask ourselves is, are we closer to the Arizona Cardinals, or are we closer to some teams that are in the playoffs every year? And we're kind of close to the Cardinals if we're just honest. So you got two problems here, and it's the elephant in the room. One is, so to answer your question, big time, I could give you Harry Roseman. I don't even know who the general manager is, or the Chiefs, or the Ravens. Well, definitely the 49ers. It's the ex-football player. Is it John Lynch?
Yeah, John Lynch.
So for them, they could rebuild his team in 1 or 2 years, and I don't have to speculate. They've actually done it. The Eagles, the 49ers, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Rams, the Seahawks, they have rebuilt their team 2 or 3 times, and we haven't even got out of the starting gate. So this 3-year plan that we're talking about, they're 2 years in the hole. They basically redshirted 2 years.
Wow.
So can they do it? Yeah, they can do it. But what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to step out of the box and just do something you've never done before. You got to do both. You got to do free agency. They really haven't done it.
There you go.
And then quiet is kept. They talk about the draft all the time and draft and develop. The truth is they're not really good at it. They've had the picks, but they've taken people like Kelvin Joseph, Loom Schoolmaker, Tristan Hill. They haven't done a good job at drafting. So can they fix it in one offseason? Yeah, they can. You got all of the ammo you need to do it. But the question is, are they going to do it? They're going to have to do, resources. They got to spend money. They don't like to spend money.
I do not.
They got to do free agency, B-Bird. They don't really they like to go on vacation doing free agency.
Small correction. They do free agents. The problem is they shop at Walmart for free agents. Jerry's still saying, he said it, Cowboy Joe, in essence at the press conference. Why should I pay one man this amount of money when I can pay 3 guys the same amount of money? Well, they tell you right there that the mentality has not changed. And how many years do you got to keep trying the same way before you done finally somebody say, hey man, this just ain't working? It's just not.
Yeah. So what they do, they go on vacation and they go to Walmart.
There you go.
That's what they've been doing.
Yeah.
So you on vacation. So they gotta do free agency and they gotta draft well. Do I have confidence that they're gonna do it and spend money? I don't. I think they're gonna be on a 2 or 3 year plan. I think Jerry, we're gonna be sitting here in 2029, 2030, and he's still gonna be selling the same thing. Now they can prove us wrong. I'm just not confident that they will.
I want to, you know what? And since you said that, then let me ask y'all this in the chat, and I ask you guys this. Okay, if they hang on to their same philosophy, which I think they will, however, they do and will have a significant amount of money there. They are going to have that. Once they restructure Dak and CD and probably let go of Terrence Steele, and they already let go of Diggs, that's going to equate just them four right there. That's almost, $80, $90 million right there. They're going to have money. All right. What would satisfy them? I mean, what would satisfy, probably, I ain't going to say satisfy, but what would make you say, okay, that's a good move. Y'all keep y'all little rinky-dink philosophy. But go get me, if I'm just throwing it out. I'm not saying this is it. What if they go get you a Crosby? What if, well, you have to trade your picks though to do that. What if they go get a Hendrickson who's going to be a free agent? Or what if they go get you a veteran quarterback that can play? Would you be satisfied with that? Because I can't see us going into the season with the secondary type that we had. Even considering Bland, I don't know what Bland gonna be.
Yeah.
By the time the season starts, since he had surgery on his foot.
Yeah.
I don't know what he gonna be. And if that's the case, then who are our cornerbacks? I mean, Reedy Stewart. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, what would you can have? They can keep their philosophy, but you gonna at least go get me one dog. You got to go get me one. I ain't even talking about on offense either. I know I saw Papa saying, you saying sign the GP. I think GP gonna be signed. I ain't worried about Pickens. I believe he gonna be either franchise or they gonna give him, a long-term deal. I don't even think that's even worth talking about. But on defense, where you want to go? Safety, impact safety guy, impact corner, or impact edge? What would satisfy you with keeping their same mentality? That's my question.
So this is easy for me because I've been saying this whole off season or at the end of the season. Go find me a veteran starter at safety and then draft me a starter at safety. Go find me a veteran starter at corner, then draft me a starter at corner, or if the corner's already existing on our team. Go give me a linebacker, a veteran linebacker, and a veteran defensive end. That's if you do that, drafting. Our safety room we need 2 new safeties. I'm tired of what we got. So I want to draft one and sign one or trade for one. Minkah Fitzpatrick is out there. We need a playmaking guy at safety, man. I'm tired of these. I need range. I'm tired of that. We're selling on just getting by and best case scenario guys. I'm tired of that.
Let me stop you right there. I'm just playing with you, B-Bird, because you threw that out. What if, and I doubt it very seriously, but what if Caleb Downs is there at 12?
No, you get him.
You get him, but are you worried about getting a Minkah Fitzpatrick now?
Yeah, I want 2 dudes.
Okay.
Yeah, I want 2 dudes. Yeah,
okay.
I want 2. One thing too, man, with that is, so this is what I said last year. Remember when we had Gilmore the year before, and I was really wanting Gilmore to come back. And let me tell you my logic was. Remember we had Diggs going into the year, and we had Bland going into the year, and then we had our nickel corner, the one that we let go get away. We were solid with 3. What was the name? Yeah, Lewis. Jordan Lewis. We were solid there, but I was telling people, I said, man, you know what I would love to do? I say, bring Gilmore back. And some people say, but we got 3 starters. I said, man, you ensuring your roster when you have another guy like that. Because if one of those guys get hurt, you still got a starter that started in this league, man. He can step right in and you don't miss a beat. Guess what? Diggs got hurt and Bland got hurt throughout that year. And we kind of suffered a little bit. But think about this. We got Pickens, right? Okay. Think about if CeeDee Lamb would have went out in 2024. We had nobody. But since we got Pickens, we had somebody. And so then all our other guys had to come in and just kind of be Florida came in and was the number 2. He had to be number 1. And so when you get a Minkah Fitzpatrick and a Caleb Downs, you got 2 dudes back there that even if one of those guys get hurt or out of the game or a couple of games, you still got an elite safety back there, man. Ensure your roster. Get good players all over the place, man. Don't worry about we got one here, we can get by with another guy. No, forget that. Go get good players. Hey man, Philadelphia don't do all that. They go get good players. They don't care about no this, that, and the other. Oh, we already got a good wide receiver in Devontae. Why we need somebody? No, go get AJ. You see what I'm saying? That's what they did, and that's what I think we got to do. We got to build this roster up with as much talented people as we can find on defense. And I'm talking about talented as far as athletic ability, man. We really don't have guys that got a whole bunch of athletic ability on our defense, man.
So just to give you some optimism or hopium, as they say, people watching the show might say I'm pessimistic, but I can tell you, to answer your question, they can do it big time. So the formula for doing this, and it's not going to take them 2 or 3 years. So first and foremost, if they hire the right coordinator for the defense, that's going to really help us a lot. Okay. So that's just how bad our defensive coordinator was. So just give me a competent defensive coordinator. That's we kind of getting off to a right start. Then when you draft players, don't draft guys that will take 2 to 3 years to develop. There are some players in this draft, and you mentioned one, Caleb Downs. He's gonna hit the field. Yeah, he's probably gonna just come in starting, and he's gonna play well. He might, remember, I'm gonna take you back to I'm gonna just try to pick out a player. Overshawn is probably not a good example because he got hurt his rookie year. But just think about how he looked when he did get on the field, the games that he played. There are players in this draft, Sonny Styles, CJ Allen.
Yeah.
If you draft Caleb Downs and CJ Allen or Caleb Downs and Sonny, what's his name? Sonny Styles, those players are not going to take 2 or 3 years to develop. They're going to hit the field and they're going to play. They're going to start and play well. So you can do that. The problem with Dallas is they don't do that. They do goofy stuff in the draft. So get the right coordinator, do some free agency. Don't go to Walmart. Just really pick up, if you can get Minkah Fitzpatrick, Crosby, Hendrickson. We on the right track.
Yeah.
The confidence I have in them doing that is not high. They can do it. And then when you draft, wherever you're drafting, just draft guys that can play. You can't draft guys coming off ACLs like Savon Rivell. You cannot do that.
Yeah, man.
You can't.
We know for that.
You can't draft LVE. When people are telling you before the draft that LVE has a neck issue, and you draft him anyway.
Yeah.
So what they got to do, last year was a very good example. I would say.
Well,
no, look at Booker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Booker's gonna make the all-rookie team. Booker doesn't need 2 to 3 years to develop. He's already playing well.
There.
So that's what you have to do. So to answer your question, they can absolutely do it. But what they're gonna have to do is roll up their sleeves. They're gonna have to spend some money. They're gonna have to get to work. You can't go on vacation. And then no matter what you do in the draft, dude, just draft good players, draft ballers, draft dogs. Don't go into the draft and do goofy stuff like taking Luke Schoonmaker in the second round. Luke Schoonmaker, we saw a copy of their draft board the year they drafted Schoonmaker. They had him in the 4th round, and they took him in the 2nd round.
Yeah, that was bad.
Okay?
Man.
So
that was a bad draft too.
Yeah, and you can't do that. So they can do it. So to give everybody some hopium and optimism, they don't need 2 or 3 years to turn this around. They can do it basically in one off season. Look at what Seattle did. It's just, you can do it. So yeah.
Let me, cause Cowboy Joe just picked up a major point, and he brushed over it. I'm finna zero in on it real quick. But because the Cowboys have fallen into this pattern. And this is the stuff that we're talking about doing things differently. One of the things they got to do differently is, Cowboy Joe said it perfect. You can't draft these guys who are coming off major injuries that you got a red shirt in their rookie year. Mm-hmm. Let's go through the list. They did this with Jalen Smith.
Yep.
You know, I mean, come on. I mean, this is the pattern. They did this with LVE. They did this with Sean Lee. Mm-hmm. They did this with they signed Michael Gallup, knowing that he wasn't right. They signed Trayvon Diggs, but at the time Diggs wasn't hurt, but you trying to rush him back, and dude coming off microfracture surgery. On top of that, he had a ACL at the time. He's not going to be the same. Now you basically got lucky and red-shirted Revel, who was coming off an ACL. All right? And we saw him play, and he just wasn't right. He shouldn't have played this year, to be honest with you. He shouldn't have played. But the pattern is there. Why am I saying that? Because I guarantee you at 12, the kid from Tennessee, who was a cornerback, who everybody say he's got the same reputation as Revel.
Yeah.
Revel, they said if it wasn't for his ACL, he would be drafted in the first round. Where there's a kid named McCoy, who is, I think it's Brevin McCoy or somebody. McCoy, who had his ACL surgery in January. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be there at 12. And he has first round grade on him. And the Cowboys love to pick guys who are previously injured and on their way coming back. I forgot another name. We also drafted Demarion Overshown, who was hurt. Yeah, and all I'm saying, this is the pattern that they do. Yeah. Can we please not draft a guy that we got a red shirt in the first year? Can we get a guy? Can we get a guy that's gonna come on and play that we don't have to wait for? Finally, can we get a guy that's gonna be able to plug in day one and talk about, hey, we got the linebacker also who had my surgery, a fusion surgery in his back. Who was that? At number 18.
That's one from LSU.
That's Damone Clark.
Damone Clark.
Damone Clark. Yeah.
Same thing. I mean, this is the pattern that we do, and I'm like, good Lord, can we get somebody that's gonna play with them in the first 2 years? I mean, and not worry about it. These guys coming off knee injuries, but this is what the Cowboys do, man.
Yeah.
I just gave you a whole list of people. We cannot do that this year. We don't have. Look, you heard B-Bird saying earlier. We don't have 3 years. We don't have time for red shirt year. Mm-mm. So it just makes no sense. So I see all of y'all putting into positions, which is fine. Because there's really no answer. We so bad on defense. I mean, we need everything. I'm just trying to see, what would satisfy. Because Jones gonna be the Jones. You might be able to slip in one guy. They might pay somebody. They'll have the money to pay one guy. I'm just saying who you need. And I really believe, y'all, because of Bland, I think it's going to be corner. I'm serious. I ain't talking about with the pick. I'm just saying if we were to be going to free agent, you got to give me somebody. I mean, we don't have no cornerback. We don't have any.
Yeah.
That was one of the major part. I know we ain't got no pass rush, but we don't have no corners at all. Yeah. We're going to have to get a veteran corner.
We don't know when Bland coming back. That's
what I'm saying.
So we have nobody. And one of the things that what you were saying about those players, I was thinking about y'all had those spots where you can go get scratch and dent refrigerators and all that kind of stuff from. That's kind of what the Cowboys do. They love to go get that scratch and dent dudes that's hurt because they're going to get them at a good draft position. But the problem is, every guy that you named came into the league with an injury issue And that injury issue followed them throughout the career for the Dallas Cowboys. It's not like they came in and got healed up and that was it. No, those injury issues. So what that tells them is that don't draft injured guys. That would should tell anyone. Like, no, if they're already struggling with injuries in high school and college, what makes it think when the hits are tougher? What makes it think it's going to get better in the NFL? It's not. And you look at LVE, didn't get better. Damone Clark didn't get better. Jalen Smith didn't get better, man. All these injuries, none of these guys got better. You know what I'm saying? They had injury. Even right now, Overshawn did not get better.
He just injury prone.
Yeah, he injury prone, man.
Yeah.
So Terrence Steele was another one on your list. They signed him after his ACL.
Yeah,
and,
I forgot about it. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so I think he played okay this year. Guyton, Terrence Steele, you can criticize their play. They played good enough for us to average 29 points a game. We played the Chiefs and the Eagles. You know, they held it down. Then you got the backup guy, that name escapes me at the moment. But yeah, they just got to look at. So something I read about last week. So the Atlanta Falcons, so they hired an outside agency to come in and look at their overall operation, and they fired the coach and the GM. And so one thing that Jerry needs to do to add to your hopium, they need somebody to come in and just look at what they're doing and just say, we're going to change some things up here. And going back to what I said earlier, guys, if they had a right defensive coordinator, that person alone can come in and just kind of get things going in the right direction.
Yeah.
I don't think either one of us can tell. You can't tell me who the starting cornerbacks, who the linebackers are for the Vikings. They just have a bunch of guys with no names, but they got a very good scheme.
They got a borderline Hall of Fame safety, but that's the only name you can. Harrison.
Yes, Harrison
that's
Smith.
the only guy that you can.
But other than that, I don't know who plays for them. And you can say that about a couple of other teams that are playing well. So again, I think the coaching hire is going to be huge for us, because you can go out, and we're talking about Max Crosby and Hendrickson. There's some other guys out there that they can acquire, they can play. There's some linebackers that they can get. We had Bobby Wagner right there for us to sign a few years back, and they just didn't want to pay him.
They brought him in. Them foolish fools brought him in and didn't even offer him a contract. He was in the building.
They chose LVE over him. That's what happened.
Yes, and LVE got paid $3 million, and Bobby Wagner was asking for 7 or 8.
And they was hoping that the first year LVE could show which he made All Pro in his rookie year. That's what they were hoping for, and ignoring the fact that his neck was getting worse.
Yeah.
And not to mention, they had LVE on the field with Damone Clark, which was just that's the kind of thing that they do. So yeah, they can do this. They can redo this roster, in one off season or two. But you just got to get the ship pointed in the right direction, and we're gonna see here in a few weeks how this thing is looking, because they can do it. It's gonna be players out there. So, Max Crosby, I've been hearing that. He considers himself a Raider for life, and they got to see what they're doing with their head coach. So if Brian Flores gets that job, he's probably going to want to keep him. So we're going to just wait and see. But if they can't get Max Crosby, it doesn't mean like you can't improve your team. And the same thing with Hendrickson. So there's some players out there, man, if they do a good job, they can sign some free agents, including linebacker B-Bird. They can get you a corner that's going to work with your new coordinator. Then in the draft, just draft good players, guys that can come in and play. You can't be drafting 2 or 3 years projects. Not Dallas. That's not where we are.
Not high up, no.
No. And you got the 12th and 20th pick. It's going to be good players on the board. All you got to do is pick them. The safety from Ohio State, Washington is drafting ahead of us. They probably he has to get by them first.
I don't think Down's gonna last to
yeah.
A lot of people
say don't really go that high though, big time.
I believe in this case he will, because he's gonna be most publications, if you into that, have him listed as the overall best player in the draft.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless of position. Of course he won't get picked number 1. but they have Downs as that guy. And most, if you do your mock drafts, some of you guys are already doing it. You'll notice that Downs go probably in the top 5 just about every trip. So I just threw his name out there. Well, to you, B-Bird, because you saying that we need safety, and I was just not arguing for him, but since you said you wanted Minka, if Downs is there, do you do it? And you answered it, say, well, we'll take both of them. You don't do it like that.
That's what you're going to have to do.
Yeah, and I believe that the Fitzpatrick thing sounds like something the Cowboys would do.
Yeah, definitely.
That sounds like them.
Yeah.
Which would be a great upgrade either way it go. But what I'm saying is, you're gonna have options. Me personally, y'all don't have to agree. And I'm anybody. I just think that we need to get back into the second and third round. If I just think we do. There's just too much of a gap there between first and fourth. So that remains to be seen. But if you don't, guess what? At 12 and 20, you're gonna get some real good football players. So that helps. But are you gonna mix that in with some veteran type guys that can come in and get the job done immediately, day one? That's what, if you're gonna draft, you can have your draft. But you don't give me some guy that's gonna come in and start it, that's gonna get the job done at day one. That's all I'm asking for.
So one of the draft publications I follow, and this is probably their worst case scenario. So one of the ones I look at, so at 12, so the corner from LSU is there, and he's gonna start for you probably day one. His name is Mansour Delane.
Yes, sir.
So you take him at 12, he's gonna start. He won't need 2 or 3 years to develop. Yeah. And then at 20, you either got Sonny Styles or C.J. Allen, the linebacker from Alabama.
I would take that in a heartbeat.
They're both going to be there. So with your new defensive coordinator, if you just simply let the draft fall to you and don't do anything goofy, and then you combine that with a free agent linebacker, and a safety, you've redone your defense in one offseason.
Yeah, so, you're right, man. You're right.
Yeah, it's all they have to do is just make good decisions and do something that's going to, just move the team along. But these guys, it's always going to be, they got to actually do it before I believe it. That's kind of where I am.
Hey, Joe, I like those. I like those moves you just said, especially if Mansour Delone, that's his name.
Yeah, they're gonna be there.
If he's there, and then we get a linebacker, so we've answered the cornerback and answered the linebacker position. Hey, I like that a bunch. Hey, I want to pivot for a moment because this is just, I want to ask y'all this question because I was kind of thinking about it. So today, I guess Blogging the Boys put out an article on people that they did not want to be a defense coordinator here, and I guess Boss on his show talked about it, and Lou had another show was talking about it. They was talking about Al Harris.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want Al Harris to be here. They said because he got too buddy with like Diggs and Bland. So I started to think about that, and I said, well, let me think about this. And I said, so my idea of a head coach, okay, so Jimmy said something a long time ago that stuck with me, and it's always been with me, and it always will be. When he, I think, I don't know if it's when he cut the player for fumbling, dude from LaPorte, he down here by my area. I can't think of his name. The running back out of, I think he's out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But then the guy that went to sleep, John Roper, he's out of Houston Yates. So both of them down this way. But either one of those guys, he said that they asked him, say, well, what would you do like if Emmett or Troy or one of those guys fell asleep in the meeting? He said, I'll wake them up. And the thing that he said that was interesting, he said, man, I don't treat players equally. I treat them fairly. And what that means is, like, if you're one of my top producers, you know, I'm going to give you more leeway than I'm going to give the 53rd man on the roster. The 53rd man on the roster got to be at every meeting on time and all that kind of stuff. And I think you got to, and that's Jimmy, man. He's kind of hardcore, but I think that you have to have leeway. You can't be just one way, right? You got to be able to, a coach has to be able to finesse his way through know what this player here needs, know what that player needs, know what I can do with this player, know what I can't do with that player. But you still got to have standards, right? When they cross the line, you got to keep them back in. But I don't have an issue with Al Harris with the cornerbacks because when they played, when Al Harris was here, they played the best they ever played. So am I looking at production or what they did, or am I worried about optics? Or, because if I'm worried about production, that's all I care about. And I'm telling you, man, our Cowboy organization worry about way more things than production. And so we need to start worrying about guys that produce. If those guys produce, let's reward them with contracts. Hey, they different than other guys. I ain't saying that they can just stay past curfew on the road or anything like that. I'm just saying that it is leeway to treat your best guys, your producers, differently than you treat somebody else. So I just want to get y'all mindset on that. I could be totally wrong on this.
You said it best. When it comes to is it optics or is it production? With the Cowboys, it's optics.
Yeah.
Optics got Michael Parsons out of here.
Sure did.
It wasn't production. Optics got Amari Cooper out of here. It wasn't because of lack of production.
Yeah.
It's feelings. They get into their feelings. That's the reason why Michael Parsons is gone. You said it best. When Harris was here, the production of both of those corners was they made all pro. I mean,
almost won MVP, man.
I mean, come on now. It's nothing else to say. When he left, they can't even get a hand on the ball. Not really. So it's nothing to wonder about. This is the type of stuff that that I'm again say the Cowboys got to do something different. I'll go back to the draft. Now we us three and Cowboy Joe just did it perfectly. I mean, 12, get this person and at 20, you'll get 2 defense, give that to the coordinators there. But see, that's what we would do. And that's probably what the chat would do. But what would the Cowboys do? Come here. They gonna let go of Terrence Steele, right? Probably. That means you got your starting right tackle gonna be gone. Right there at pick 12, there's an offensive tackle by the name of Francis Morgane from Miami, who played last night, who you gonna see in the national championship game, who they say is the best tackle, right tackle, in the draft. He's an All-American. How much y'all want to, and we know that the Cowboys love to pick in the first round, offensive lineman. Everybody talking about defense. And they probably gonna let go of Terrence Steele. And the Cowboys would bypass all that defense and would pick that offensive tackle and say, hey, we got to solidify the offensive line. The offensive line. They do this, and I got a feeling that if they let Terrence Steele go, everybody was saying, well, we'll move Guyton back to right tackle. No, they ain't going to do all that. They ain't going to do that. They going to go ahead and get younger again on the offensive line, and they'll have BB, Booker, or Mulligati, or whatever, Bugatti, and Guyton there. Tyler Smith is still young. Or their running mate at 20. I did a mock draft where it also happened to be that the right tackle of the Alabama Crimson Tide, when Booker was there, Proctor is his last name. Mm-hmm. It's the right tackle. It's going to be probably right there too. I wouldn't be surprised that they go ahead and get another offensive lineman, and folks are going to be mad as all outdoors. It would be a good pick. But when you need defense like what we need, they would go ahead and pick that offensive lineman. That's all I got to say.
Well, that's why they need to just do free agency the right way. So, when you get to the draft, just let the draft just fall to you. So if they think an offensive tackle is the best player, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I would go defense. But it goes back to free agency. If you've done everything you need to do in free agency, then you just sit there in the draft and just let the draft just fall to you however it falls, and don't do something goofy. Like I told you guys earlier, in Big Time, I've been watching your show for a long time, and you've always talked about how they just throw the ball too much. When you're running the ball, Terrence Steele is fine. But if you're throwing the ball 35, 40 times a game, that's when the problem comes up. So Shotty, he got to this offseason, he got to look at, what he did this year. There's some times during games where he just throwing the ball way too much. So, but yeah, that Terrence Steele thing that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I wouldn't do anything there. Offensively, I'm gonna just keep it a buck.
I would.
All they need to do offensively is just build on what they have. They don't need to do anything on the offense.
But we all know if they think that there's a decline or a steady decline in Steele, they're going to, because the money is there.
That's right.
They cut them. They're going to do that and say, okay, let's just take our chances on this young kid who seems to be great. And I watched him play. I like him. And he's good. And I believe that they would do that. And I believe that give a swerve because everybody talking about defense. Yeah. Nobody said anything about offense yet. Nobody. And I believe those guys will be there. And I wouldn't be surprised if that kid is probably going to be number 1, number 2 on that board. I would not be surprised at all.
Yeah. So to go back to where we started, this press conference. So if you cut Terrence Steele and draft one of those tackles in the draft, somebody needs to go to the press conference and tell Jerry, you're not trying to win a Super Bowl now. We gonna come back to the press conference in 2030.
Yeah.
Because these years coming up, you not trying to win.
Uh-huh.
So let's just be honest. So we looking at 2030.
I think what you're saying too is that our offense this year is good enough with a decent defense to compete. And that's even with Steele at right tackle. One thing
Guyton too.
Guyton too. If he can stay healthy, because Guyton been hurt a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Nate Thomas, you think that they could use him at right tackle? You think
I think he'll be a perfect swing guy.
Yeah, but I'm thinking you think about a starter if they do go away from Steele.
Well, I mean, the other major question is, okay, is Tyler Smith? Even though I think they're gonna keep him at guard,
I don't want to move him. Yeah.
But if they do move him, all right. Now your question is, where is Guyton going? And that'd probably be back to his natural position, maybe at right tackle, because you definitely ain't moving him to guard. That's for sure. But even with that opens up a hole now in left guard now, if they do it. I don't see the Cowboys because they do not give up on linemen. I mean, they just got to get their brains kicked in before they finally say, okay, you can't play no more. They dealt with Tyron Smith for years, who was always injured. So injury is not a criteria. Cowboys believe in ride until the wheels fall off when it comes to linemen. So I got a feeling that I hope that they let Tyler Smith stay at guard. And if I don't want to get misquoted here. I don't really have a problem with the tackle from Miami. I love him, actually. If you've seen film on him, Jay Bryant, have you watched the kid from Miami at the right tackle? If y'all want to know, Jay Bryant, that's a bad boy, man.
I've been talking to him through the chat. Yeah.
He just about need his own show. I'm going to bring him on my show.
Yeah.
And help me with some of the names.
So if he's the best player, just take him.
Well, I mean, and he's day one starter.
Yeah,
you let go of Steele.
Yeah, so my thing with Dallas is when they get to 12 or 20, just take the best player. If it's a tackle, it's a tackle. Just don't do something goofy.
Yeah.
And you got the best player right there.
Exactly.
So if you get to 12 or 20, if you taking the best player, for me, at 12 or 20, whoever you draft, they're going to be a day one starter and they're going to play. Including the kid from Miami you're talking about.
Yeah.
Just don't do goofy stuff. And that's what they've been doing the last few years.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, the Ravens, they taking killers.
Yes.
They did this with Cal Hamilton, the safety. B-Bird, we gotta talk about this in one of our shows. And one of the questions I got for you guys, and I haven't been able to figure this out. Okay. You cannot find me a Super Bowl team that does not have one or two all-pro safeties. Sometimes they have one or two. Okay.
Well, if you listen to my son's show last night, he has a thing that says is that I'm 21 years I'm 21 years old, and I've never seen a great safety play for the Dallas Cowboys.
And tell your son the Cowboys have 5 Super Bowls. Every team they've had that's won a Super Bowl, they had an all-pro safety or 2. The other thing is linebacker. You don't find a Super Bowl team that has an average linebacker.
No.
It doesn't exist. We never did it here. Our linebackers were always all pros.
Yeah.
So my question to the panel is, what is going on with the Cowboys front office where they just take a position or 2 positions, safety and linebacker, and just say, we can just get average guys there and win? What is that all about?
Well,
win by committee.
And they've been doing it for 30 years.
Look what the safeties play. They play in the middle, right? And so the Cowboys forever didn't take defensive tackle seriously, didn't take linebacker seriously, and didn't take safety seriously. But they take cornerbacks and defensive ends seriously. But the thing about it is, man, if the middle of your defense is not solid, all that stuff on the outside is just glitz and glamour, man. Because if somebody can just run down your throat or do whatever they want to do, so the Cowboys never really addressed that position because they're not glamour positions. You know, the defensive ends, the cornerbacks are the glamour positions. Linebackers aren't.
So one of the questions I would have asked Jerry in the press conference, I would have said, Jerry, you know, you've been here for 30 years. You had a front row seat on how to build a team. You won Super Bowls. You won 3. You were right there. None of your Super Bowl teams had average safeties and linebackers. So what's your organization philosophy about linebacker and safety? And then just let him answer the question.
Oh boy, that's gonna be a what they call it?
It's good luck. Good luck.
And you shouldn't lose your media pass. It's a valid question. It's not insulting.
Yeah.
Hey, so I had one more question for y'all. No, I had a comment to something that Big Time said earlier. So Big Time, on that franchise tag for Pickens, I can only see us using the franchise tag to hold a spot for negotiations. I don't
think it's going to be no urgency, B-Bird.
Well, here's the deal. Pickens doesn't strike me as a guy that's going to play under the franchise tag.
And that's based off of probably what you perceive his attitude is going to be like, and you're not wrong in assuming that at all. I just think that they, you know, again, when you're coming off 1 year and your reputation is bad in Pittsburgh, and the only thing that you're coming to the table with is your 1 year in Dallas, and you can project from there. Okay, so you look at it. The dude almost had 100 catches. He had over 1,400 yards. He's already made the Pro Bowl, and there's a tremendous possibility that he's probably going to be an all-pro. I know that he probably won't be first team. It's going to be the kid from Seattle and probably Puka Nacua as your first team all-pros. But that second team all-pro, he has a real good shot at being second team all-pro. So he comes to the table, possibly, but say, okay, Jerry, I had 1 year. You see what I can do with a quarterback. I come to the table saying I'm one of the top 4 wide receivers in football because I'm all-pro. And I come as a Pro Bowl, all-pro player. You don't have to see another year. Not with me. You don't have to see another year. I am that dude. So you need to pay me. Because, see, if I sign a long-term deal, I'm not going to get another bite at the apple probably until another 4 years from now. Ain't no telling what's going to happen. I need my money now. So I need to be paid. No, I realize I'm not going to get paid what CD get paid. I need at least 33, 34.
Yeah, I definitely believe in that.
You see what I'm saying? And the idea of thinking that Jerry is going to pay 2 guys that money, that just don't sit well with me. He too cheap.
Well, here's the deal, Big Time. I definitely agree with you. And I'm gonna tell you right now, and I'll let everybody know this. My son is a big Pickens fan, man. He loved him on the Cowboys. That's his favorite player. And I told him, Bryce, I said, man, I can make a case for not signing Pickens. And he was like, no, Dad, I said, son, with Flournoy coming on, I can see the Cowboys saying, well, we got Flournoy. We can't afford to spend 30 something. And I said, to be honest with you, they got a point in that, right? And so let me just tell you this. I would love to sign Pickens, but if they did not sign him and put that cash somewhere else to help the defense, it wouldn't hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? I would be like, oh man, God dog, we ain't gonna get to see this guy play. I said, but the thing I'm worried about is this. And this is the point I was trying to make. Playing up under the franchise tag, no GM ever uses the franchise tag to actually tag people, because some people out there may know it, they don't. I'll just explain. If the franchise tag is $28 million, that counts dollar for dollar against your cap. You can't even push none of that money off. Like, you can't have his cap hit be $10 million, and then, because it's only for 1 year. So it's in that year. You got that money will count against you in that year. That hamstrings you from what you can do as far as signing other players. That's why no other GM but Dallas can do that. So only three times quarterbacks have been franchise tagged in the NFL. Kirk Cousins is one, and Dak Prescott is 2 and 3, because the Cowboys got the luxury of doing that. But what that does, that hamstrings you on what you can do. And any other GM that was GMing for their job could not afford to do that. So what they do is use that as a placeholder. So, okay, we got your franchise tag, but we're going to negotiate with you. And usually before the season starts, they end up getting to a contract agreement. So I'm saying this. I wouldn't want them to franchise tag him for the whole year, because it would hinder what we can do. But also, I know that Pickens, and he'll probably say, no, I'm just going to hold out. Why? Because, I'm trying to get a guaranteed money for over 4 years, and I'm not going to try to get hurt this year. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to try to play up under that.
Yeah, I think, man, it's
tricky.
It's tricky, but I think that they should just get the deal done, and just what happened last offseason, it really just hurt your team. You set your team back really for several weeks to start the season. I just think the trade had an impact on the team. At the end of the year, it really did come back and bite us. So I think they should just get him signed. That should be their priority. You can win with Flournoy, some other guys, but this team, if you're trying to do it in 1, 2, or 3 years, and you're really trying to go all in, I think they should sign Pickens, and that would be the start to a great offseason. If they don't sign him, it just sends a message to your team and your locker room. Man, they need to just get this thing on track and just do the right thing for the first time in several years. And I think they're going to have a shot at really getting back pretty quick.
Leo the Greek, I guarantee you that if Pickens asks for that, he will not.
Yeah, he won't be.
What amount does he have in there?
42 mil.
Found it right there in the chat. There, I put it on the screen there. He said Pickens will ask for $42 million a year. If he asks for that, he will not be in a Dallas Cowboy uniform next year.
So what does CD make?
35.
Yeah.
See, if you pay him, then you got to come back and see. Now you got to worry about CD now.
Yeah, so, I think 35, 36, somewhere in there, just whatever the market value is. That's probably what'll get it done. And then, as you said it, they're going to come back and probably redo CD. So yeah, that's it's all right there. They just need to just get it done. I mean, if you think you're gonna not sign George Pickens and
waste
your time trading for him. I mean,
you did. Hey, I got a scenario for y'all whenever y'all get through, because I asked the guys on Frankly Football this one. The Raiders come to you right now and say, "Hey, we'll trade Max Crosby for George Pickens." What do you do? Straight up.
I would say no. Me myself.
I gotta keep picking. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So that's two.
The wild card is this though. And it's, for me, it's because of this. I love Crosby, but if you saw his picture today, I don't know what the surgery he had.
Oh yeah, that's a minor surgery. Yeah.
Okay, that's minor. Okay. Well, then I expect Crosby to be the same then. Okay. Well, as great as he is, I don't know. I may have to rethink that. The idea of Clark, Crosby,
I know, man.
and
That's
Quinn
the thing.
Williams on the same line. Oh my
And then Clowney too, man. You know what I'm saying on the other end. That's what I'm thinking. I was like, boy,
that's nasty.
That's nasty, man. That's nasty.
Pickens can get it done, but if you get rid of Pickens, you got a lot of confidence in Florida, though.
You got a lot of confidence.
I mean, and I don't have that for him quite yet.
Say this. Say our defense regresses 10%, but our offense regressed 10% because we don't have Pickens, but our defense gets into the top 10. I mean, are we ready to compete? I think so.
Well, like I said before, to go back to the top, we don't have to be the 85 Bears. And the Cowboys just this year was ranked 23rd. We're playing tomorrow, this weekend. Yeah. We are playing. That's if I can make the punter punt the ball, which we didn't do. You know what I'm saying? If I can make him punt the ball at least twice and get this offense the ball back, we're playing this weekend. It's really that simple. So they don't have to be great, but because of the opportunity that we have now, with the draft picks and the money that we probably gonna have in free agency, we better start be on that road to greatness now, because you got all the tools that you need to get it done. I'm loving what Cowboy Joe said with this draft.
That was good. I like that one.
I'm taking that now over, when I was saying trade back to get in the second, third round, but even get the second and third round players, that put the Cowboys in position to do something goofy, like drafting the second round, drafting the stone maker.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Just because you got the second or third round pick don't mean you gonna do something with it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of feeling Cowboy Joe. I'm gonna change my whole perspective on it.
Big time,
Joe's right, I'm wrong.
Is anybody? I know you got people high places. Any kind of way we can get Cowboy Joe into that front office? Trying to make some moves on that draft. I mean, you think we get him in there?
We need to do something. Look, I got a way to get in. I'm gonna tell Vach. I'm gonna talk to Vach.
Yeah,
since he in the building, that's what we need. Vach watching everybody, man. He watching all of them. I got a little bit saying that he appreciate the show like that and all that type of stuff. So we in the building. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know if our voice gonna be heard because of it, but we in the building. So you got
Vach be. I'm telling you, the way he bringing it, I'm thinking that he need to check his security. However you get in there, Monday. Yeah, he take his card, because I'd be like, this might be his last day. The way now I'm gonna give myself credit. I was the first content creator when Eberflus was hired. I was like, and you guys will appreciate this, the OGs. Something smells like a rat.
Yeah.
That's what I said. As soon as the name came out, I said, this is something not right here. And I'm gonna do you one better. There's a coach that they might interview. It's gonna be he's an Eberflus starter kid. That's Jonathan Gannon, the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah. Now, so the Arizona Cardinals, you got Clayton Adams from there. You got away with one. So have you guys seen the movie Heat?
No.
You ever seen that with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro?
Oh yeah.
Where they robbing banks?
Yeah.
So when you got Clayton Adams from Arizona, you robbed a bank and got away with it. If you go back and try to get Jonathan Gannon, you're basically trying to go back for another bag, and you're gonna get caught. So they don't. But watch that name, Jonathan Gannon. If he's on an interview list, big time.
Yeah.
Jerry's up to his old tricks.
Yeah. And I'm tired of his tricks. But go ahead. I'm tired of it.
They shouldn't even interview him. He's the one that he punched the player during the game.
Yeah, I remember that. They called for his head and his job right there.
And it was a second or third string player.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's not the guy you want to look at. But yeah, I think I like the guys they interviewing so far. I think they're on the right track.
They're on the right track. Ladies and gentlemen, is there anything else, gentlemen? We rolled.
Yeah, we rolled on this. No, are we gonna give our last words or what?
Yeah, go ahead and get last word. Go ahead, B-Bird.
Hey, I just want to tell everybody in the chat, anybody listening, man, check me out at B-Bird Cowboys on YouTube and on Twitter. Again, we just did a show last night. It's on YouTube right now, and also on Twitter now, X or whatever you want to call it. Me and my son did a review of the past season. Man, it's pretty good. I really wish I would check it out. Give me a like, subscribe, follow, do all those things, man. And hey, I appreciate being on with you guys tonight, man. It was great chopping it up with y'all.
Go ahead, Joe.
And I'm Cowboy Joe with Father and Son Cowboys and Sports Talk. I do a show with my son, Jules. We do 1 or 2 shows a week, so check us out. And we're doing the Father and Son thing. So congratulations to B-Bird and his son, Bryce.
Yeah.
I want you to tell your son, I'm going to call him offline. I got somebody else that he needs to ban and works for the Cowboys. So you might have an idea who that is.
Yeah, exactly. I've got, big time. Listen, you guys follow me. Follow me on YouTube, right here. Most of you are there. Big Time Show, Facebook, The Big Time Show, Twitter, The Big Time Show. It's simple. I'll be coming on tomorrow after this guy, since he done slipped in here. He trying to get on camera.
Oh yeah, that's
it's all right.
AAU player.
Hey, you do.
I got to run around with him tomorrow. He got a game tomorrow at 10 o'clock and then got a game at 1 o'clock on tomorrow. Playing basketball, his AAU team. We just came from Dallas last week. I should have hit you guys up. I was in, give me what's the P word?
Plano?
Well, I was in Plano, Texas. That's where I was last weekend with him. His AAU team played there last weekend, and they're coming back. They got a game tomorrow here in Memphis at 10, and then he's playing for his school team at 1 o'clock tomorrow. So I'm basketball all day tomorrow. Right after that, I'm coming back Saturday afternoon. It'll probably be maybe 4 o'clock. Maybe I'll do the Big Time Show and talk about everything else. Again tomorrow, maybe some of the stuff that we heard today. But as always, when you get into a space with people like B-Bird, Cowboy Joe, or if you listen to Cowboy Joe and his son, Jules, and then we got a new player in here with B-Bird and his son come in. It sounded like one day we all need to jump on here, everybody.
Yeah.
Have do our own, just start seeing what's going on with those guys there, and see what's happening, because Jules is special with his takes, just like his dad is. Y'all heard some of the best takes with Joe just today. B-Bird has always been legendary with his takes as well, and his son jumped out in yesterday, because I jumped on the show and listened to it for a while. His son sounds like he been with us for the last 8 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, he already ready to rock. And so when you start, the space is growing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The generations, as Cowboy Joe like to say sometimes, the generations just keep going. I see my brother Lou Tate just came.
What's up, Lou?
What's up, Lou? Guy,
one of the great young guys in the building. Lou, who's just special.
Bishop Dunn's finest.
Yeah, man. I mean, so all these guys are coming on, and this off season, you can go to any of these shows, man, and I mean, you're gonna be number one informed, but you're also gonna be entertained as well. We do it a little bit different than Jerry. We're not entertainment first. We like to inform you first, and you might catch some entertainment in it at all. But this is what you're going to be getting, especially here on the OG show. One thing that these guys are so good, whether y'all know it or not, we just did this a freestyle tonight. It wasn't no notes at all. So it just shows you the great knowledge and the talent that these content creators have. I'm just glad to tag team with them in any form. These some bad boys, and we'll be coming to you. We're going to shoot again for next Friday. At 7 p.m. We're going to shoot for it. But because of this dude right here, he changed my schedule.
Yeah. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that, brother.
Yeah, I don't mind at all.
We're flexible,
We're gonna make it happen one way or the other. But this is kind of where he got me rolling all this summer. I mean, right now, we ain't got to the summer yet. And that's really when it's gonna crank up. So I'm with it. Listen, follow us everywhere. I appreciate everybody that joined in the chat. Thank y'all for hanging. Y'all comments were great tonight. Y'all made a whole lot of sense. Jay Bryant, Leo the Greek, all you guys that's been hanging with me for a while. I hate to start calling names because I'm gonna forget somebody. All you guys that have been with me for a long time. I tell you that. I tell you what, I'm sorry. Appreciate you. Appreciate all you guys, man. We're gonna see you guys. Come on with me tomorrow. I'll be here with y'all tomorrow at some point. Just turn on those live notifications for everybody. And we'll get with you again. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Cowboys OG Podcast. We did it again, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Have a great weekend.